Um, we're going to have a conversation this morning, Tish. Let's talk about GoPro.
Fabulous. Let's do that.
Well, what I love most about GoPro is that it happens once a year. Once a year. So you don't have to get too stressed out about not being able to make it. And because it is once a year, I think it's a great annual recap. I like the timing of it, that it's at the end of the year, so that you have an opportunity to sort of like sequester yourself and be in a little bubble and think about your year, what you liked, what you learned, and then how you want to move forward. So the game plan of doing something at the end in December to really get clear and plan. I really do think that that's probably my biggest motivation, and to be able to stay focused is to be able to have a planner and to plan this out. How do you feel?
Absolutely. That's actually on my agenda today. It popped up in my memories 2 years ago today. I was all excited with my new day timer and my pens and getting everything ready. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing today. And now you're talking about it. So come on, universe.
Yeah. And Eric Worre said, show me your calendar, I'll show you your future.
Yeah, it's true.
So future as not just of like filling in all the events and stuff like that, but possibly the future of like how your year is going to pay out too. Because if we're doing the same old thing and nothing worked from last year, let's say I blocked off an hour every morning to go through Facebook and see if I could connect with anyone. But then I didn't get any results from that. So I'm going to have to either scrap that or tweak that.
Absolutely. And that's review, right? That's that review part. What did you do this year? And that's why we keep journals or books, because that's exactly right. I have mine here. It's full of everything that's happened this year. And you go back and you see, when was my busiest time? You can check your numbers from that time, your pay, was it working? For sure.
Yeah. So I made some notes. I do want to start off talking about Eric Worre first. He has been such a great mentor for me because he breaks it down into really simple steps. And for anybody here who has not read the GoPro book, that little book that has the 7 steps where he walks you through it, you need to get it, because every year he goes through the 7 steps. Yes, that one, thank you. And there is audio and DVD with that too, but that book really did change all of the structure. Thank you, Lori. So if you do not have that book, it's worth the $10. I'm just going to say it's worth the $10. I wish when I would have started way back in the day, like way back in the day, I wish I would have had those steps, because it would have been so much easier. And I possibly wouldn't have burned through my warm market in 2 hours. So it's one of those things where if you have a skill set and you can improve on it, but if you have a plan, and that's really what that GoPro book plan is that it is actual plan step by step on how to create an income and create a big, huge organization and teach them how to do it. So we now become teachers. So here's what I thought was really interesting is that distributors are disposable. When he said that, I was like almost like punched. I've never heard that before. Distributors are disposal. And the reason why he said that is because people change their mind about products, and that's really what a distributor is for using products. They're trying out some stuff, they're looking for a new product, but they're not really interested in the culture or the community, and then the business side. So you're gonna have to look at your downline, he said, and figure out what percentage are distributors, people that are just using the product in order to get a good deal. And having people inside of the organization, not on a customer list, but inside of a distributor tree that got in because it was a better deal, those are disposable distributors. I thought that was very clear of like how many people I put in my tree that shouldn't have gone in because they were customers, but at that time we didn't have a customer program. So in order to get the best deal, in order to keep those people using the product at the best deal without me having to inventory, ship, handle, and process anything, then I put them in as a distributor. But lots of those people left. They were in, they were out, you know, maybe they stayed for a couple of months, but they're in and they're out. So that could be just a note to self that distributors are disposable. Because what we really need to be doing is building and creating influencers. And those people, influencers, will stick and be able to create a business. Influencers will build an impenetrable team. Impenetrable. Wow, I just love that word. And be able to have your team so solid that when you go to do your budget for your bank or you go to get a loan or car, is that is a solid income. It's actually a reoccurring income because those influencers understand the value of the company, the community, and they have a loyalty factor to you. Comments, Tish?
No, I'm absolutely on page with you. Love your notes.
Okay, so here's what he also said about influencers is that they are actually the engine. They will be the driver, the fuel to your business in order to create that kind of excitement and be able to like help people overcome their obstacles. So the 5 characteristics of an influencer are 1, independent. 2, problem solving. And he spent a lot of time on the problem solving one because he said most people are just whiners. They just want to complain about 95%. If you're talking to them, they're just whining about what's going on in their life or what's wrong with the company. And they get caught up in the little details of everything that can stop them. And problem solving needs to like, okay, you need to be able to assess or recognize the problem and then be able to move 95% of your effort into solving it. 5% recognizing it and like really pinpointing what is the problem. And then 95% going towards solving it. That is an influencer because they will be able to create the rest of the momentum, the buy-in to the rest of the team in order to get on board to solve the problem. So the third one is consistency. So congratulations, everyone on here. You're all influencers. You've all been consistent all year, all through the holidays, and you've showed up on all the events, and you've been consistent on your auto ship, auto delivery, auto write-off, and you have never considered yourself an influencer. But consistency is a great big piece of that pie because loyalty is the currency that drives people's trust. If they can count on you to be consistent, you're going to be able to build a bigger team. You're going to be able to help people buy into the fact that you're going to be there through thick and thin. And that's a really important part. Lots of people don't understand that this factor of consistency is generally underrated, I believe. It's underrated because there is a lot of reasons to be really flaky. I mean, there's so much drive-through and there's so much opportunity to like turn things on and off now in our life that if somebody understands the value of always being able to know, whether it's knowing in the back of their mind or having you at their fingertips and you are there, that value builds massive loyalty. So consistency. And so number 4, this is my favorite. Create action when it wouldn't happen without them. Create action when it wouldn't happen without them. And that would be people like Tish and Janet throwing down that challenge. I wouldn't have done a daily Facebook Live if it wasn't for Tish, my influencer. She influenced me to get on board. She got really excited. I bought into her loyalty. I knew she was going to be there every day. And so she created action. And that is a plan that I want you to think about when you go to plan out your day timer. Where is the action that we need to create that's not going to happen if we don't MSU it? So all of the creativity in your mind set to paper, you need to put in your day timer, whether it's as a campaign, as a challenge, as a contest, as an event, open house, private business reception, organizing a charity run, a bottle drive, like whatever it is, that action would not have happened without you. And then the 5th is big vision. Big vision. And I like that Eric said, global domination. We have access to the entire world. Billions of people on Facebook, millions of people in Calgary, hundreds of thousands of people in surrounding communities, in all kinds of groups and hobby groups, and all the people that we think or bump into or have just maybe casual acquaintances. All of those people have relationships, and we can taproot. That's a new word for me, but you can taproot and move into those organizations because you know somebody from another organization. So you get to do, like I call tailgate, but they're calling it taprooting, where you get to move through organizations and go in and meet more people because you know somebody else from that. And that big vision, you need to learn how to articulate it, which brings me to my next thing, is that we need to get solid on our stories. Our story now has changed dramatically. 2018 was, if I used to say game changer, but 2018 for all of us was an entire game change, an entire new company, an entirely new comp plan, an entirely new product line. It was an absolute game changer. And we need to get solid on our story on how we're going to talk to people about what we are and how we move forward from that. From a cosmetic company that had one product into an entire catalog of nutrition and weight loss and water filtration, air filtration. Also, we have access to a travel.
Investments coming down. Game changer, right?
Game changer. Like nobody else in a storyline where they were in a company and then that whole company moved into an entire new company and survived. So not only did we do the change, we survived.
Amen.
We survived. I mean, the first 4 months were hairy, like just what? What is going on? Where is my back office? How do I log in? I can't find this. And then all of those little details and the changes happening throughout the year. But the consistency of us staying plugged in made that manageable. I'm not going to say entirely on a monthly basis, but on a day-to-day basis, just trying to keep up with all of those changes and learning this incrementally. And we still got, I'm going to say, 2 more years of like intense learning before we really feel like we're moving the wheels like we were in Nucerity. But that's just part of the process. And the influencer in all of us recognizes that and understands that the big vision that we need to have now is that it's global. You have access to China. That's big. Really big. So knowing how to tell your story in 60 seconds, he said, and all business is a conversation. So telling your story, number 1, your background. Number 2, what you did not like, what you were doing before. Number 3, your solution. What happened when we did the merger, the solution that happened is that people stopped looking for an alternative to weight loss. People stopped looking for trying to find a great supplement company. People stopped trying to spend their money somewhere else because we decided that, yeah, we wanted to invest it in the travel rewards program. And now you get diamonds if you want. All of those little things that you can throw in on your solution end, and then for the future. And the future, I want you to try and craft it that it creates that big vision. The next to do from Eric Worre is rate yourself on your 7 skills from 1 to 10. 1 being suck, 10 being epic. So your 7 skills. Number 1, finding prospects. Number 2, inviting. And if you are going through your head and going, oh, I know that one, that's good. You probably got the language down from the GoPro book. If I Would You. There's lots of tips in that book. Number 3, presenting. Number 4, follow up. 5 is closing. And one of the biggest statements Eric said for closing is, say, what did you like best? The closing line is, what did you like best? He also has a bunch of closing questions. I'll just go through them. Number 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Conversation. Kick the door open. Find out where people are. And then he said, if anyone is bigger than a 1, they're a live one. They're good to go. You just got some, we just got some work to do, but they're a live one. If they're above 1, we're good. If it's a 5, they're in. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? And then ask them, how much money would it be worth your time? How much money would you need to make? Would it be worth your time? And he said, everybody's got a price. So don't let them get away with saying, some money. I'd like to make more money than I'm making. You want a number so you can do a math with them. So you can do some math with them. And then how much part-time I thought was really interesting, because everyone that we're going to be talking to has another job. So how much part-time would you need to earn to make it worth your time? So the first question is like this big general question, how much would you like to make? So whether you'll either hear them say either, you know, monthly or yearly, and then part-time, would you need to make it worth your time? And then he says, how many hours a week, realistically, how many hours a week would you be able to put into this to make that kind of money? So once you get the total on what they want to make part-time, then how many hours? And then the next question for the closing is how many months would you be willing to give to make that money? So we're setting expectations, and I think that's something in my closing I've never done, is to ask those questions in that particular order. But he said memorize and work on getting those questions nice and tight so that they just roll off your tongue, because you need to set expectations, and it will help people stop from going MIA. So when you get them involved as not just a distributor, but moving them quickly from a distributor into an influencer where they can see themselves building a long-term vision. So that's closing.
Can I just add one thing in there, TL?
Yes.
I think what's key about those questions that he wants you to ask is you're not putting words into their mouth. They're giving you all the information that will make it valuable enough for them to do. So once they've given you all of those answers, you put it into one simple wrap-up, which is, so if I can show you a way to make $1,000 a month doing 2 hours a week for the next year, are you ready to get started? Right? Because they gave us all the numbers. So really invest in that. So thanks for sharing those tips.
Yeah, I think we should do a training on that, just on the closing, like do one full Saturday just on that. And everybody's doing this. Okay, well, let's mark.
That's great.
Okay, let's do that. So then back to the 7 skills, that was number 5. Number 6 is getting started. Number 7 is promoting events, my favorite. And what he said is if you just learn one skill and it's promoting events, you will be the biggest income earner in your company just by doing that one skill. So I personally think I suck at all the other 6, but that one skill of promoting events, doing events, promoting, getting people in the room, getting excited, moving people in the room emotionally, getting attached, building friendships, all of that is the sticky stuff that I believe that's why so many people have decided to stick around from one event to the next, because it's been so much fun.
I agree. And he can tell you basically what your income is based on how many people you have in a room from your team. And so that's key. If you've got no one at an event from your team, you're probably not making anything. If you got 100 people there, you're what, making 100,000? Is that what he says?
Yeah, every person at the event, at your corporate convention, every person represents $1,000
per year for you. Yeah. So the more people you have in the room, the more money you're making. He can just, the numbers don't lie. He talked about influencers too. He talked to a bunch of the top earners in the front and said, how many influencers do you have in your team? And some said, 1 or 2. And he's like, I think you're pretty harsh. But he said, if you've got 25 influencers on your team, you're $1 million earner. It's just how the numbers work. So when she talked about these 5 things that you're looking for in people, start looking for those. It's going to make it so much easier for things to flow for you if you find those types of people or cultivate those types of people.
So I I want to go through the last part of Eric Worre's, and it was the 10 deadly sins of network marketing. Just really quickly, because I feel that this is such a great thing about helping set culture, but also to expectations. And if we had conversations like this when people flipped into manager, because manager for us in RX is the first rank that is being recognized through corporate. So that actually could be our foundational rank is manager. Go ahead, Tish.
No, that's good. I was always wondering what it was. So I like that you put that out there.
Okay. So I believe that manager is going to allow us, like a silver, that's going to be the foundation rank. It is $150 a week when you're being paid as a manager. So when you add that up in a month, right? That's like $600 or $700. Me and my Ukrainian counting again here. So manager, paid as manager would be like our silver. And if we had conversations of the 10 deadly sins with our managers, our culture would be impenetrable. We would be able to bank on everybody understanding the rules and how to play inside of our organization, inside of our culture. And so, number one, the 10 deadly sins is lying. Number one, lying. Overinflating income, product, and company. Just straight out lying. We don't do it. And these, for me, would be part of the Rhino thing. These are non-negotiable, the 10 deadly sins. So non-negotiable. Number one, lying. Number two, being a bully. Being rude, a tyrant, my way or the highway, that doesn't create influencers. Everybody needs to be able to have a voice and a platform, pass the mic, and be able to get new people on the stage as quick as possible. If there's a bully in the room and they're the only one that have the mic, that meeting is not going to have the long term where people are going to keep coming week after week, month after month, because it's going to be the same person in front of the room, and we're not going to hear a different story. So number two, being a bully. Number three, talking negative. There's a time and a place, and it's not inside of a biz op. It's never going to be there. It's never going to be on an open call, an open Zoom, because you just never know what new person, new guest, new prospect is going to overhear or see that. You take it off, offline, privately, in a separate room, in your house, not in a restaurant even. If you've got something really serious that you need to talk about that you know is negative or something happened, this needs to be super private, okay? So that we can get it to the right people if it is about compliance. So number three is talking negative. And here's the thing, we can help each other to move forward to not talk negatively. So if you hear somebody, well, I don't think I can do that, I can't do that, then let's help each other. Let's tweak that. Say, oh, can I give you just a quick tip? Let's reframe that, or let's tweak that. Let's get on each other's about our language. Because the casual negative that comes out of our mouth through the day-to-day operations is like the mindset and the record that's running 24/7 when you're like all by yourself. Number four, inconsistency. Interesting, hey? Inconsistency is one of the 7 or 10 deadly sins. When you're hot and cold and you're wondering why your team's not running, but you're in, you're out, you're on, you're off, you're participating, you're not, you're showing up, you're not coming to conventions, you're not, you're in, you're out, you don't buy your ticket right away, that's inconsistent. Nobody knows where to find you. And if you're going to show up, you can't build a team. And it's a sin. And I always said there are no orphans. There are no orphans, and there won't be any orphans if we're all consistent. We work together. 5, spending more than you make. Oh my God. Such a great rule. That's a sin, spending more than you make. We need to get tiny, itty bitty. Stay focused on, you know, your habits of like what's really successful. Paid in full. That's the new sexy. Like not having any debt, not $1, everything paid off. The freedom, the peace of mind. Jump in anytime, Tish. Okay, stealing distributors, number 6. I almost feel like that should be moved up. But stealing distributors absolutely is non-negotiable. We will not tolerate it. I will turn you into compliance. There's going to be letters written up. We are going to fire you. If we see you raiding or stealing distributors or guests at a meeting, that's it. That's not going to happen. That one definitely is a deal breaker. You can't recover from that, and nobody will be able to trust that person again. So that is definitely a one that you might want to be able to hammer home, either hammer or, you know, just lay it out really calm and collectively to new people at manager level. We want influencers and we want leadership and we want the right stuff. I want to be able to trust my downline. I want to be able to send somebody from wherever and know that that's not going to be ever a conversation, that they're going to be able to like, well, you know, if you were on my team, we'd be able to work closer. And I know, Kathy, that happened to you. We don't do that. We just don't. So 7, sleeping around. For most people, you're married. For the rest of us that are all single and all up in there, yeah, we're just not going to sleep around in RX. It's just not going to happen. We're going to have fun, absolutely, but we're going to be classy, and it will get out in the downline like liquid fire. It will just blow up. It's not going to be good. And promiscuity is not a great corporate image. And potentially because of this corporate, you know, being in Utah, it's a strong male foundation. We have a lot of male founders. We need to be, I'm going to say, sensitive that we're all really hot ladies. We're all sexy. We're all just like, we know we got it going on, but we can appropriately dress and act appropriately. So promiscuity. So number 8, public addict. And he talked about being drunk at a conference or out of line, whether it's, you know, you have a problem otherwise, whether it's with alcohol, abuse, drugs, coping, or whatever it is. He said, it will destroy your downline. You, in an instant, will take away your credibility. If you stagger, stumble, fall, pass out on the lounge couch, somebody sees you, you know, tripping, falling off your chair at the lounge, he said, don't do it. Nurse your drink, have one, but be very aware of your surroundings because people are watching. Lots of people are watching. And then number 9 is me. Me, 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 me. It's all about me. I think there's a song, a country song, isn't there, Tish?
Toby Keith, I want to talk about me. Want to talk about number 1.
Yes, it builds resentment and it will chase away all the good people. If you're just focused on yourself, remember, find a way to serve the many. Jim Rohn, find a way to serve the many. That's how we're going to build an incredible organization when it's not about us. So people will die, and then people will just leave. Number 10 is the success coma. When you're so disconnected in your leadership, you live on the past glory of like 20 years ago or 10 years ago of like I used to be. And I think about that, you know, when I used to be a competitor, you know, I used to be in shape. I used to be able to wear a half top. I used to feel, you know, at this size. I used to. So I think the success coma can happen in all kinds of avenues in our life, whether it can be in relationships, not only in our finances, but also in our PIN. And really, I know I need to requalify and get back up to the next level. I mean, in this company, there are no secrets. RX posts everything. They post everything. You know exactly where you are on the leaderboard or not. And so there are no more lies in here about what we are or are not doing. And so the success coma, I think, is pretty much busted here, because the way that RX sets it up, that they post all the top rankers and everybody that's moving forward, and even the countries that are, you know, the top enrollers and then the top sales. So there's a lot that's just open for public display. So we're not fooling anybody. We're not fooling anybody. So those are my notes on Eric Worre. Oh my gosh, and it's already way past half an hour. Sorry, Tish.
I think people are enjoying it. I wanted to say a couple things about your reputation, really. When he talks about, you know, addictions or sleeping around, or pretty much all of these 10 deadly sins are about your reputation. And it takes you a lifetime to build a reputation. And one mistake that could be a 30-second mistake, anything to take it all away. So always be mindful. What do you want people to be seeing of you? Who do you want to show people that you are, and who do you want them to be? Because if people are following you, you want them to emulate who you are. And so I like that the company is very open and very vulnerable, so people can't hide behind the lying of what they make or what rank they're at or any of that stuff. So I think definitely this company is going to hold everybody to a higher standard, which brings everybody up to a different elevation of their life. And yeah, I think it's time everyone gets to level up, right?
Yeah, it is all about leveling up for sure. And I think that if we have a conversation, and it doesn't have to be this long, but a small conversation, when people hit the rank of manager, I think we're going to be able to induct people into the kind of culture that we'll feel really proud of. And we won't ever be concerned when we meet up in a big organization, because they're going to all know the culture of the company. And this company is very much corporate driven. Let's just say that. It's very much corporate driven. They all show up in jackets and suits and ties. When I was in Florida, all of the young guys from the Asian team from California, they all had like their, you know, their little suits on and their skinny ties. So very professionally dressed. And that's another thing, you know, you talk about your image. If you want to sell a dream, don't show up like a nightmare. I mean, we we need to like level up, get it together, you know, start thinking a little more professionally. It can be funky, but it needs to be appropriate. You know, there's great fashion out there now for all kinds of body styles. There's absolutely no excuse that we can't show up looking our very, very best. And that's what I'd love to see for September for the RX conference, is that when the Canadians show up, we're sharp, we're on point, we've got our notebooks, we're ready, we're enthusiastic, and we look absolutely like poster child. You know, we have it together, and we have a strong background in product use. That's one of the most important things, is that I know in our culture we use the products every day, and that speaks volumes on why we're were so enthusiastic. So when we started talking about social media, and if you are involved in the 14-day challenge with Facebook Lives, congratulations. Nice. All those people. Great, great, great. Thank you. One of the biggest things about social media that Ray Higdon said was when you message somebody, the first message that you do, no company link in your first message. You need to keep it short and tight, and you need to have a question in there at the end. So every time you have an interaction on Facebook messaging, have a question that ends to create the conversation so that you keep the door open. Remember, all business is a conversation. If you don't ask a question at the end of your message, they're not going to respond back. Why would they? That means the conversation is only one-sided. And there was a great analogy for me. It's just like a ping pong match. You got to keep tossing. You got to keep whacking the ball back over, so they got to whack it back to you. So if you are losing your conversations on Facebook messaging, it's probably because we're not asking really great questions at the end for them to respond back. And then third-party validation. He said, once you get some information going back and forth, then you want to try and get them offline into a call, a conversation, a Zoom, and have some third-party validation. Do not be the only person having the only voice on that. What do you do? How long? What have you suffered from? Get their story and then share your story. But here's the thing he said, do the takeaway. Ray said, this may or may not be for you. So if you type that out in the message, this may or may not be for you, it like makes it really delicious for people to like be more intrigued rather than you coming in as a hard pitch. So create openings and allow people to have an exit strategy. This may or may not be for you. Giving options to persuade. And here's the thing that Ray said. Our skill needs to be greater on the internet. So if I suck in person, man, I got to really pull up my socks because it's going to be harder on the internet. So if we thought it was going to be easier and we're going to make more money on the internet because it's social media and all the rest of it, we're going to need to practice. And that's what's really great about this 14-day challenge is that we're practicing in a safe environment and we're getting feedback and getting really great coaching on how to be better before we get kicked out of the nest to do it for real. So I appreciate that, Tish. So Emily on the social media training, on the panel, she said, class it up, ladies. Class it up. You know, dress up from the waist up if you need to, but class it up. And there's some interesting role models that I've found on the internet and on YouTube that do a lot of really great Facebook Lives. One of the coaches that I've been following, she is an expert in single dating over 50. Her name is Jackie Sayburn, and here's what she does. She gets her hair all done, her makeup on, her lips on, she's got a beautiful necklace on, she's got a great color on, and she's really enthusiastic. If you are looking for somebody to mentor you as far as like bringing your own style and brand so that people get engaged, 90% of the engagement will happen visually. And so we need to capture that within the first 10 seconds or we're out. So we need to class it up and get it set up. So if you have just one or two outfits that you absolutely love, then make that part of your branding. I'm just going to say branding for now. I don't know what the right language is. But if you only have one top and one necklace that you absolutely love and it looks fabulous on you on camera and it's bright and it's happy, then wear that for the entire year. I don't care. But we need to like really raise the bar because there's hundreds of thousands of people out there that are doing it professionally, getting paid lots of money. And if we want to move into that six-figure realm, of doing that, then we need to like get it up, get it on, and get it happy. So she also said that the story game, and I don't know anything about Facebook story, but maybe that could be another Saturday training where we train on storyboards and story Facebooks and how to create that interaction, and then tag in Instagram. I think that would be another good training. But that needs to be almost like a spam on your lifestyle. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Because the lady that really was crazy out of the box, her name is Jessie Lee Ward, and she was just like, on a scale of 1 to 10, she was like 100. She was like so over the top, big hair, wild lipstick, tattoo all the way down her leg. She was like enthusiasm, like off the charts, talks really fast, and then lots of inflection. Like her style and her tempo was really engaging. I mean, she was just entertaining, but she also had a system 4-2-1. So 4 posts with no branding, and you make it your personal as through the week. So 4, and then 2 kinda with swag. So that might be even something like this, like wearing a boot camp, or you're disrupted by design, or maybe you have your water bottle with you while you're talking. So it's kind of like just a drip campaign where you're talking about your lifestyle, but then you're using your product. So maybe, maybe you're using Skincerity and you're rolling your hand and you're talking about the cold weather, something like that. So you do 2 of those, that kind of swag, and then 1 post daily at the same time, she said. So you need to find some consistency where you're going to have a follower, 1 post. Doesn't have to be a Facebook Live, it just needs to be a post. So it could be inspirational, it could be a picture, it could be something about your hobby, but 1 post that needs to be consistent. And then the boom, she said. And this is the one-time week where you actually straight up do a presentation for 15 minutes. She said you need to ask for the sale 1 time a week, 15 minutes. And this is where we're going to get really good at presenting on our 7 skills, that we need to individually come up with our 15-minute pitch. So that's really what I wanted to absolutely talk about. There was so many more speakers, I mean, Magic and Maxwell, but I really want to feel that because of the timing of this, we just need to like hone in on our skills and get our planning done. So if you don't have your day timer yet, yesterday I went out, found my day timers and, something sparkly so I can find it in my purse real fast. And then I thought, this is kind of interesting too. This is like a big calendar, one of those little ones that you can throw on your desk. And so now, awesome, Marie. So then you can start mapping out your whole entire month and fill in the big chunks and put like the weekends that you're going to be on, or you find out that corporate's going to be near, or maybe there's certain things. So Saturdays, you can mark off on your trainings, or if you're going to plan an event, it just gives you a big overview. And I think that would be fun to look at the end of the year, to see your monthly laid out. It'd be so incredible. Tish?
I love that. So here's some suggestions from listening to UTL, because I know we go and we learn a lot of information, and you have to invest in the learning. But we also need to learn it so we can teach it and put it into action. And so I'm going to ask if maybe we can, whoever wants to maybe work on this, is we can get a training together where we go over those Eric Worre closes. We can maybe help people figure out a line for them that makes it easy to invite, that you're getting the invites. And then mapping out how people can help their team members get to manager. Because I think if we have those little hurdles, the invite, the close, You can use a video in the middle of it, right? You don't need to be an expert on those, but if you pick the 3 key things that we need to really focus on to grow, and manager now is like the pinnacle point where we need to get people to, maybe those are really key trainings that are help people. Just a thought. I need to learn them. So when you're learning to teach, you learn a lot, right? And so I also wanted to point out when you said, we've had a lot of stuff go on this year, and a lot of us could have quit and could have walked away. But what I'm seeing is not only did we come into this company as a massive group, when you're on those calls on, say, Tuesday night, which were RX calls, we're like 70% Newcerity love. And I say kudos to everybody who's not only stuck in and's been frustrated and how easy it is to quit. You're here and you're still here, and it's for a purpose. So stick out and find out what your purpose is here and make it work. So that's all I got today, TL. You were great.
Well, my sexy friends, it's Saturday and it's only days away from 2019. Take advantage of this time, get introspective, set your calendars up, and post on Facebook your big vision. Do it. Like, just get like Jack Canfield. Big, hairy, audacious goal. Throw it out there. Throw it out there to the universe and let everyone inside of this community rally around you. We are here to support you. Tish has been consistent leadership and influencer. She's always on the MSU charts. And here's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on some campaigns, and I'm going to set it up. Now that I've got my monthly calendar, I'm going to set it up and I'm going to share this with you. And I want to do that next week. I want to share it with you so that we have a map out, and potentially if all of us got on board and then I'm going to pick a week once every, I'm going to say every maybe 2 or 3 quarters, and it'll be a colored week. And this will be the intention that we go to push rank. So imagine 30, 50, 500 people all working on the same week to push rank. The amount of people that we're going to be able to do a tsunami and just like everybody's on the upswing, just like Maxwell said, right? Everybody would be on the upswing if we all work together on the same week. So prospecting, inviting, and then actually just doing a closing week. It'll be incredible.
I love it. I look forward to the setup. I'm going to wrap up this call, TL. There are some questions, but I'm going to stop the recording on this, and then we'll answer these few questions if you're okay with that. Yeah. Fabulous. Thanks for your awesome training.